don't want to break it down.
Yes, what's going on, producer friends? In today's video, we are going to take a look at G-house vocals and how you can improve them. A lot of the times, G-house vocals seem to be pitched down, and because of that, you lose a lot of the upper harmonics and a lot of the inflection in the voice, I guess I would say. The sibilances, these little ASMR noises don't really come across anymore because as you tune something down, you're moving all those harmonics down, all that harmonic information downward, and it ends up dulling out the thing that you're tuning down. If you want to have a good example of that, just take your favorite track, throw it in your DAW, and tune that down. You'll hear instantly how quickly all the high end is out the window. And this is a problem that I hear a lot with G-house vocals in G-house tracks that I hear, is that there's really no high-end harmonic content going on sometimes. So this rack was designed to help you bring back some of that life and some of that character into G-house vocals. So let's go ahead and listen to this. This is just a vocal that I got off of Splice. I think it's from the Tommy Sunshine pack. Let's go ahead and just listen to it. I've already pitched it down 4 semitones, put it on the Complex Pro setting. Let's just take a look.
Don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down.
So actually, because this is a pretty well-recorded vocal, there's still a decent bit of high end in here. I think if I would have recorded something on my mic, or if you're recording on something that's maybe even a less quality mic, you're definitely not going to get this crispness. So we'll still hear the effects of it and everything, but I think this will be really beneficial on, more DIY recording setups. So let's go ahead and see how it sounds with the settings that I have on in the rack here.
Don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No.
So you can already tell there's actually a really big difference. It sounds a little bit meaner, a little bit more in your face, and just overall a little bit more processed. So let's go ahead and talk about the macros that I have in here and what they're routed to and everything like that, so you can kind of know how to use this thing. So for now, we will go ahead and just turn the dry signal completely down. Turn everything down except for this drive over here, this first drive. So let's bring it up so we can hear clearly what it's doing.
Don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down.
And there's also a filter associated with this drive because it's mapped to this overdrive right here, which has a filter already in it. So we can move this around and see how it sounds.
Don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No.
So you can tell on the higher end, it's really getting a lot of that, bringing a lot of that kind of air back, a lot of that crispiness, and all the way at the lower end, it's distorting the fundamental tones of the voice. So it ends up sounding a lot more like some weird crackly radio effect. But I think it's super useful for both, and that's why I included the filter in there, because, sometimes you want a lot of air, sometimes you want the weird radio effect, and this knob will give you both or an in-between. So let's bring this drive back down to something a little bit more reasonable. Actually, let's put it on 0 for now. This next one is just going to be a general saturation, so we can listen to that.
Don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No,
I really included this second wave of saturation because sometimes with that overdrive, it can get a little sharp because of the filter. This kind of just balances it back out, brings out a lot of other harmonics, and has a more distorted tone, but isn't as ear-piercy. And the next thing we have is this chorus, which makes it, a lot wider and can make it sound a lot more processed, a little bit more robotic.
Don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No.
Very watery when it's pushed all the way to 50%. But usually, somewhere around 30% is what I'd like on that. And then we will take a look real quick at the reverb. This is going to be a super short reverb.
Don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No.
Almost like you're standing in a bathroom with this dude for some reason. He's just sitting there rapping in your ear while you're trying to pee at the urinal. And you're like, dude, yeah, okay, I get it. But like, come on, I'm trying to pee. My freaking dick is out in my hand right now. Anyways, so that's reverb, and then at the end of the whole chain, because there's a lot of distortion going on, we have a low cut, and that goes up to 300 hertz. So
don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to.
Pretty subtle, but is super, super helpful if you're going to be layering this with, other instruments and other things that are going to hang out in that bass region. And finally, we have a wet signal.
Break it down. No.
And a dry signal.
don't want to break it down.
So instead of having just a single dry wet knob, we have these dry and wet signals that are independent of each other. And I like to do this just because I like to automate these things a little bit differently sometimes. And having just one dry wet, you know, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want them both at full volume. Sometimes I just want one. So this makes it just a tiny bit more flexible. I find this super useful when processing vocals, especially when they're pitched down. If you want to grab this rack, it is free download over at my website. Hit the link in the description, and I will see you guys in the next one.